Oh, I did the sound again, didn't I? I did. Oh, man. Fuck, I'm sorry, guys. I'll start over. Welcome to another episode of Break the Cycle with me, your host, Joshua Smith. I'm sorry, guys. Fuck, I'm so bad at this. Every time. I really need a producer at some point. Like, we're not making enough money to have a producer yet. But at some point, I'm going to need a producer because it's hard producing your own show, man. It is fucking hard. There's a lot of tech going on around me here. And it's a lot of stuff I got to program before every show. And I just, I forget, man. But anyways, I hope you guys are having a great Tuesday. You totally missed my spiel about how Tuesday's trash day. And that's what I look forward to on Tuesdays. That's, I don't know what you guys look forward to on Tuesdays, but trash day is Tuesday for me. So I get to get rid of all the garbage in my life. So I'm really sorry, guys. I actually have mute buttons right here on my Stream Deck right here that I can use. And I forget sometimes, but I love y'all. We got a great show for you guys tonight. Like I said, when you couldn't hear me, when you may not know who this guy is, but when you do, you're gonna really like him. He's amazing. But let's start off with some sponsors. Of course, we have toplobster.com, the man, the myth, the legend, my good friend and partner on Break the Cycle, where you can get this great Disobey Your Local Tyrant shirt that I'm wearing today at a 10% discount by using BTC at checkout. Or you can join the Patreon, subscribe star, or become a member of the YouTube channel right here under all of my videos. And get into a private Discord server where you can get all of his new designs up to 2 weeks before they go to the general public at like a 30% discount. It really pays for itself, man. I'm telling you, it's worth it. You guys, my Discord people have bought a lot of Top Lobster gear because it's the deal of the century, man. And of course, executive producer of the show, anthemplanning.com. For all your emergency and crisis planning needs, check them out today. See what they can do for your business, home, or personal life. They're doing a wonderful job that the government has historically sucked at, much cheaper and much more efficiently. I'm telling you, if you own a business, check them out today. They're going to do something good for you. I'm sure of it. I promise you, you will not be let down. Guys, again, we've got a great show for you tonight. I came across this gentleman. Someone shared a video of him speaking out. He's a based blue-collar, working-class, non-complier. He goes by the name online of the Hard Hat Intellectual. He is Mr. Joshua Clavin. How you doing today, sir?
No, brother.
What's up, man?
Challenge.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. So I've been watching a ton of your videos, dude. Like, you seem to put some out pretty not even periodically. It's quite often. You do some pretty cool rants from your phone. A lot of times in the truck. I know that's kind of like the stereotype, right? Like angry guy in the truck doing the cell phone videos,
stuck in traffic.
Yeah, stuck in traffic, pissed off at the world. It's like Michael Douglas in Falling Down. Like you're just gonna park here and get out.
Yeah.
Fucking,
the burger doesn't look like the picture.
Yeah, exactly, man. But your shit is like really, it's legit. It's not like you're not yelling about transgender bathrooms and shit like that. You're yelling about real fucking tyranny that's true and honest and messed up, man. So, but I want to know how you got to where you're at. You live in a pretty blue area. You're up there in the Northeast, and I want to hear a little bit about your journey, man. How you got to be who you are today.
Yeah. So yeah, my journey's kind of it's kind of weird. You know, a lot of people wouldn't actually they wouldn't believe it if I told them, but you know, I didn't really start looking into politics or anything like that, or even like philosophy, nothing along those lines until I really, you know, fucked up in my life. I hate to say it that way, but I made a really bad mistake. I ended up going to prison for a little while, and while I was in prison, I ended up, you know, reading a lot of books. You know, I had a lot of time to do some really good self reflection, and I basically came to terms, you know, that a lot of the things I was fed throughout my entire life, you know, the whole victim complex, you know, that my behavior wasn't my own responsibility, that I had every right to act out in society because I grew up in such a bad environment, you know, all those things that they're still feeding people now. I started questioning it. And I ended up running into a really interesting gentleman in there. I was working out one day. I worked out a lot in there. And he came up to me and he said, you know, you have a really good routine. You're very strict with it. He said, that's good. He goes, but do you ever work out the most important muscle in your body? And I said, what's that? And he pointed right here. And he said, read more. Start to read. So I started reading. And ever since then, man, I got really, really, you know, deep into a lot of things, a lot of societal things. And I started noticing things. You know, when you start to read more and you really dive into it. A lot of people don't really like to dive into, you know, the real meat and bones of things. You know, they don't question anything. And that's what's so interesting about books when you find out about all these great minds, you know, from Schopenhauer to to Nietzsche to you name it, all of them, you know, Machiavelli. You read all these great minds and you realize that there's so much more to life. There's so many questions that still haven't been answered, you know, and there's a lot of explaining and a lot of explanations that, you know, go hand in hand with a lot of things that are happening right now. And then once you get into it, dude, you can't get out of it. Once you start seeing it and you get that little taste, you get that first little red pill down, and it's a tough pill to swallow first. But once you get it down, you can't turn back. And that's pretty much how my journey started. And then obviously, you know, the whole COVID thing started, and that's when I really started diving into it. And it's been a wrap ever since.
Yeah, absolutely. I call it the window you can't close. It's like, you know, for me, it was like Murray Rothbard, right? Like anarcho-capitalist theorist and economist. And they started explaining the state in a way that made me understand that they're basically the mafia masquerading as a human rights organization.
Yeah, absolutely. He who screams organization screams oligarchy. And all about yeah, bro. I've been all the way down that.
Nice, dude.
Yeah.
I like it. I'm a big fan, man. So you live in a tough spot right now, man. We're dealing with this COVID tyranny. I mean, that's what it is. It absolutely is. Even if this thing was as bad as they're saying it is, even if this thing was as bad as they said it was in the beginning, they still don't have the rights to treat us the way that they're treating us. They still don't have the rights to force things into our body. They still don't have the rights to lock us in our homes and do all this stuff. What's it been like for you living up there, man? I know you're, you know, blue collar guy. You got to go to work, all that stuff, man.
Yeah, I mean it's been pretty interesting out here. Obviously, you know, it's a little more chaotic. You know, it's a blue area, but you would be surprised about, you know, how many people are coming around. You know, one of the things I've noticed, you know, heavily out here is there's a lot of people who are on the verge of coming around, but they just don't know how to come around, or they have came around, but they're just lying to themselves still. They're stuck in that phase still, and there's a lot of aspects that fall into that of why people stay in that rut. But you know, I look at it like this: like a lot of people who talk to me at work, you know, a lot of discussions I have with people when it's not really other people around, you know, and I'm really having that deep discussion with them, they disagree with a lot of this. But then when they're around a different environment, they act like they don't. And that's one of the major problems. That's actually something that I've been, you know, attacking lately, because I have a couple of theories on why that is. And they're not my theories, they're theories that I've actually stumbled upon. And I think it has a lot to do with what is happening right now, you know, because a lot of people don't agree with the things that are going on, especially even in these blue areas. And people would be surprised, but, you know, a lot of people are really uncomfortable with a lot of the things being pushed. You just wouldn't realize it because you don't have the access to the perspectives to realize it. You can't see it. You know, that's the whole thing with the social distancing. You know, the whole point of the lockdowns was to keep us from engaging with each other. And now that we don't engage with each other, they control all flow of information on the internet. You know, they can create the reality that we perceive on the internet through social media. And now they control the flow of whatever information they want you to see. So people are under the assumption that a lot of people are okay with these ideas when in reality they're not.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's, you know, you're bringing up a really good point. I kind of harp on this thing called the cathedral. Is that something that you're familiar with, the cathedral?
I've actually never stumbled upon I've been looking into the hyper reality, but I haven't stumbled upon the cathedral.
So the cathedral is I talked about it, especially when I first started the show like 6 months ago. I talked about the cathedral quite a bit. It's Curtis Yarvin wrote about the cathedral in terms of it's the holy union between the state, the government, academia, and the corporate news media. At the time, he was working in big tech, so he didn't add big tech. For me, I also add big tech into that. I think that, they're obviously in cahoots with the state. They've obviously taken subsidies from our tax money, and kickbacks. I mean, legit been paid for all kinds of things. They work with Congress, on how to moderate their sites, and they've really become, like the digital public square. And it's like we've created this space where people can talk to each other all around the world. And then if you say something that they don't like, they kick you off, man. And so, I mean, have you had some experience with that kind of stuff, man? Like being booted from platforms or anything?
Yeah. I was actually just locked out of my account for a couple hours today because they said that my account was displaying suspicious activity, which this is not the first time that's actually happened to me, but they do it all the time. They do it to a lot of people. I see it constantly. It's constant, and that all falls into that whole hyper reality scenario because they need to maintain that framework. They need to maintain that perspective that they want people to be under. It's an illusion. It's not real. But when you have a constant bombardment of that illusion, people fall under that illusion. They start to behave in ways that the illusion is real. And that's what that is supposed to do. That's what that's designed to do because human nature is designed to conform. People like to follow the herd. They like to follow the pack. The hardest thing to do in your life is to not follow everybody else, to be yourself, to not conform. And when people are constantly on social media, and that has become the norm for people to communicate, and then you tie in COVID-19 and all the lockdowns and the social distance, and now the only means of communication is online. It's on the big tech platforms in which they control. And now that illusion, you're constantly under that illusion 24/7, constantly boom, 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 bombardment. Not only that, they control whatever opinions and perspectives they want you to see. So now you're getting bombarded with that. And what happens? People are designed to conform. People are designed to want to go with the herd. And if they're under the illusion that everybody is going along with these things in which they're promoting, they're going to behave and pretend that they're going along with them too. And that's exactly what that is.
Sure. And I think one of the greatest examples of that recently has been the ivermectin talk, right? Like we know as free thinking people who can use the Google machine that ivermectin has been approved for human use for decades. It was on the World Health Organization's list of essential drugs for years and years and years. It's been prescribed to humans repeatedly for years. I mean, I think there's like 1 billion doses at this point worldwide or something like that. But yet everyone you talk to online about it is like, oh, the horse dewormer. It's like it's complete control of the information that people are listening to. Because let's be honest, okay, unless you've had any kind of healthcare professional background whatsoever, you don't do a whole lot of studying on the drugs you take, the drugs you know about. It's kind of one of those things. It's like, okay, well, a doctor prescribed me something, so I'm going to go take what the doctor prescribed me because he's saying it's going to fix my stuff, right?
Exactly.
And that's probably 90%. Maybe, well, there's probably a lot more percentage of the population that work in healthcare than that. So, but let's say it's 75, 80% of the people in this country. That's their mentality when it comes to the drugs that they put in their body that are prescribed by healthcare professionals. And so when they are being told by the news media all day long that ivermectin is a horse dewormer, that's all they're going to believe. And so now they're shaming you for going out and doing the research and figuring out, hey, this is not actually true. This drug won the Nobel Peace Prize for host of uses off. And the other thing that's been crazy to me, I think it's the first time in history, at least in my lifetime, that anybody has ever acted like no drugs have any off-label uses whatsoever.
Yeah. It's nonsense, dude. It's utter nonsense.
Absolute nonsense to me. It's very, very insane, man. But so you've had some cool theories about the things that I never really thought about during some of your videos, man. And you were talking about the mandates and the COVID tyranny and stuff like that, and in ways that I don't think a lot of people talk about it or think about it, like the tyranny. But can you give us like some of your, I mean, what's your, what do you see going on, and why do you think they're doing all this stuff, man?
Well, man, I think honestly that there's layers to this. There's so many angles to this. From my perspective anyway. This is just me. This is just me talking, but there's countless layers to this. There's so many angles in which they're hitting this at right now, and it's all by design. Everything is by design. There's multiple topics of discussion that they constantly cycle through, whether it's the recall, whether it's the race stuff, whether it's the Afghanistan stuff, the COVID stuff. If you notice and you pay attention to it and you try not to let the noise constantly distract you from it, because both sides fall for this, you'll notice they switch it constantly. You're never really stuck on one topic, and as major as the topics are, you're never stuck on it. And it's supposed to be that way. They don't want you stuck on one because they'll slowly chip at one. And then when people start noticing it, they'll distract you with the other one. And then they'll chip at a different one. And they recycle this. And this is how they do it. You know what I mean? They throw it out there, you take the bait, and then they distract you with something else. And that's just one aspect to that. The whole other thing with the social distance, and I think I just explained it, but the whole purpose of that is to keep us from engaging with each other in ways other than social media, in ways other than big tech. People are living in fear. They don't want to go around other people. Not everybody, but a lot of people. And when these platforms become the main way of information to flow and they control it, people are going to get stuck in that one perspective. And it's absolutely absurd. And the whole, the horse medicine and all that stuff, that's another angle that's just crazy to me. Because what bothers me about this, and I can't peg it, but it's really bothering me. It's people really think that if all the things that we speak on are that absurd, and they're just that far out there, and they're such loony bin conspiracy theories, then why do you need to censor them? Why do you need to block them? When have you ever heard of somebody in history ever blocking something because it's so absurd? If it's so absurd, you wouldn't need to block it. You wouldn't need to censor it. But people have just lost this basic logic. They have no common sense anymore. And I don't know, I think some of it falls into a lot of that social pressure online. Even if somebody in their stomach, in the pit of their stomach, they're like, yeah, that doesn't make sense. They won't say it. They won't speak on it. They'll just keep going along with what they're being told. And that's one of the main problems. That's one of the things that I'm trying to break. I'm trying to shatter that behavior, because that is one of the main things, at least from my perspective on all this, that is one of the main things that is just preventing people from really speaking how they truly feel. And it's a problem, and it really needs to stop.
Sure, absolutely. So you have a unique, well, it's not really a unique perspective because it's how, the vast majority of Americans are in their daily lives. You're a blue collar, working class guy. You get up every morning, throw your boots on, your hard hat, and you go to work, man, like a lot of us. And as somebody who, I'm a blue collar working class guy too. I get up every morning, I throw my boots on, I go to work, I work my 12-hour shifts. But I work in national politics too. I sit on the national committee for the Libertarian Party. I'm an at-large representative, and I've met a lot of politicians, and I've dealt with a lot of people that work in national politics, and state and local politics too. And they are so fucking detached from the reality of what people go through mentally and physically every single day, that it makes it really hard for me to wrap my brain around how they can understand how to best serve us, man. As far as the blue collar stuff goes, do you think our government, this is something I talk about a lot, I think we need more fucking construction workers in government, dude. You know what I mean? But I mean, where do you stand on that? What do you think about that?
I think you're absolutely right. I think both parties are on their way out. A lot of people say it's nonsense, but they are. They're finished. Democrats are finished. Conservatives are finished. The GOP finished. All of those perspectives that people once had, all of those old parties, that whole system is going to crumble eventually. There's no way it can sustain it. There's going to be two new movements. It's going to be that very far left woke movement. It's going to be whatever people would want to phrase, this right-wing reactionary movement, or whatever you want to call it, the based movement. But the parties are over. The GOP party, I've worked with state politics too in my state, and they have no clue. It's a country club in there. They're not trying to play to win. They're not trying to play for keeps. They don't want to win. They couldn't win if their life depended on it. They don't know how to. They are so out of touch with everything. And there's so many opportunities there. There's so many opportunities there. You think the Hispanic population, I'm not saying all, but you think the majority of the Hispanic population is going for some of this nonsense? Think about it. We're very religious. We like to work, family oriented. Why would we go with any of those policies that they're spitting on the left? You know, it's just common sense things, but they don't target a lot of that. They are now, but they didn't before. It's always been there. You know, there's things like that. They don't know how to really get in touch with that. And I think that both parties are pretty much on it. Well, I think the Democratic Party has jumped on that far left train, right? But they're gonna take that over if they already have it. They're already running the show. That party's finished. So I think both parties are over. I think there's gonna be a lot of opportunities for people who never thought they could run for any type of political office to run. I think if somebody really has the passion for it and really understands what's going on and really has, that fire in them and that desire to speak what people really want to hear and they can really connect with those people, I think people will do exceptionally well.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree, man. I think we need more people who can relate, and I think that's an important step for this generation, especially. I mean, if we go back, several decades, there were a lot of people who used to get in politics that were blue collar, working class. I mean, whether it was state or local or countywide, and even some federal legislators as well. I mean, some of those people were blue collar. It's not like we've seen a lot of blue collar presidents for a century or so. But we need people that can relate to our struggle. It's really it's so fucking important, man. And I keep telling people, I was like, if you're a construction worker and you're a decent speaker and you have good principles, fucking run for office, man. Like you can be against the government all you want and still run for office, dude. You know what I mean? You can't.
Oh yeah. That's absolutely there. And there's actually something that's, I've been trying to follow closely, because a lot of people are focused on the left, in which they should be. You should be, though, they're out of control. But there's something brewing on the right. And I don't even know if it's the right, but there's something there with the people that aren't on the left. I hear it at work all the time. I see it. I can see it in people's body language when they start to talk about these things. I can hear it in the words they speak. I can hear the language change. They're not using the same language they were using before. When they talk about the left now, they're using words like disgust. They're saying these people disgust me. They aggravate me. They're really, that bubble is there. That fury's there. It's there. And these are regular people. Some of these people are immigrants from Portugal, South America. So when they talk about all this minority support they have, I laugh at that. It's an illusion. That is not real. That's a fallacy. It doesn't exist. But what I'm worried about is if I can notice things like that, and I'm a blue collar guy, what if somebody else notices that? What if the wrong person notices that and they know how to channel that and they take control over that and people ain't thinking about that? Imagine when millions of strong men with bruised, cut hands have had enough. What are people going to do? You think they're going to tolerate that? They won't. And somebody could see that and somebody could channel that. And that's not hard to control a channel either. And people need to pay attention to both. And that's why I try to get through to both sides. I don't like to just stay on one side. Forget sides. I don't care. If you're against what's going on right now, you're a friend to me. And people really need to start taking notice of that.
Sure. Yeah, that's what I've talked about a lot lately too, man. If I've always said, as a libertarian, I'm a libertarian guy, you know what I mean? And truly at the heart of my principles, I'm anarcho-capitalist. I think that we should at the very least not have to deal with an overreaching federal government. But I talked a lot about for years how I'll work with anybody that wants to roll the state back into any area as long as they're not advocating adding more states somewhere else, right? I think that that's a really important distinction for me. Like, if I don't give a shit if you're on the left, if you're on the right, if you're, I don't care what you do, as long as you're not advocating for adding more state in places that there's no state or not enough state up to your par, and you're asking to roll back certain programs, because we all know this. This is the thing: when the government fucks up, when they create a fuck up, they don't get rid of the fuck up. They create another committee for oversight of the fuck up, and then that committee becomes a fuck up as well, right? And so that's how the government works, right? So if you're advocating for rolling back the oversight committee, if you're advocating for rolling back the initial committee that fucked up, I'm going to work with you. And right now, this is absolutely 100%. This is the situation of our time, man, right? We have watched a lot of bad shit in our lives. If I don't know how you're probably, I figure you're probably around my age somewhere. I'm almost 39. and or maybe you're younger. I don't know. I'm a bad judge. So, but you know, I watched the Patriot Act. I watched the always supposed to be temporary Patriot Act stick around for 20 years, and now it's going to stick around long after Afghanistan's over. I've watched these NDAA bills get passed. I've watched all this stuff, but nothing in my lifetime has been as despotic as what we're going through right now. The pork packed into these stimulus relief bills, the mask mandates, the vax passports, the stay at home orders, the shuttering of businesses. I mean, it's not, you know what I mean? Like everybody's like, oh, it's for public safety, it's for public health. I'm like, no, it's not, man. You know what I mean? But I don't know. What do you think, man? Do you think any of this at all has been about public safety and health at all?
No, I don't. I think the only possible way maybe it could have been is if, you know, the scenario was that, you know, COVID did happen and they seen an opportunity in it and they pounced. And now we are where we are. That's the only possible way. But I don't think any of this at any moment right now for the past months, I'm talking 10, 12 months, the whole year, had nothing to do with public health. You know, it's all about controlling human behavior. You know, there's no need for the mass. We know it. They know it. A lot of people know it. But why do they continue the mass? Well, it's to dehumanize people. Why are they pushing for the mass on the children in school? It's to conform them. You know, if you teach kids and you train them, this next generation, to be scared of any time the authority says that there's a virus and they need to follow these rules and obey it or they're going to get sick. Imagine how easy it'll be to control that population in the future.
Sure.
It's ball game. That's game over. You know, and that's why they push for that. You know, the whole thing with the lockdowns and extending the moratoriums, you know, that's to destroy the middle class. If it was really about helping people out, they would have extended it for the homeowners too. They would have extended it to the people that were renting out. They didn't. They only extended it to the people that are paying rent. Why? You know, they obviously they just want to destroy everything. You know, and then people they miss these inconsistencies with a lot of things going on. If they are really out here saying that this is the best economy, best job growth, all this stuff, right? Then why are they trying to extend the moratorium? If there's so many jobs and the economy's booming, people should be able to pay their bills. Nobody asks these questions. I don't understand. Like I just don't. I don't. It's like right there in your face. But this is all designed to make you more dependent on the government. You know, if there's no more middle class, everyone depends on the government. You know, if they are allowing, if the public in society allows them to continuously find these loopholes to basically coerce us into doing what they say, to go to work, to do all these things, well, now they control the workflow. You know, they're already controlling the children. They know a lot of parents depend on public education. As much as I cannot stand public education at this point, parents depend on it. They have no choice but to send their kids there. They have to muzzle them with the mask because they can't go to work. They can't pay their bills. They can't do a lot of these things. All of this is one big design, and people are stuck in this framework of it. And it's basically, it's going to enslave society. You're going to be under the illusion of freedom, and you'll never have freedom at all.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I think it's attributed to Jefferson quite a bit, but I don't know that Jefferson's the one that said it. But he said those who would choose safety over freedom deserve neither freedom nor safety. So, and it's the truth, man. And we're seeing it every day. And you know, I put out this video. I think you might have saw it. The video I put out about mass non-compliance and stuff like that recently, which actually did really well. I think. Thank you for all my YouTube subscribers and viewers who made that by far my number one most viewed like short video on my page. I really appreciate you guys. But I talked about it there. It's gonna take coalitions of people. I mean, you know, the construction workers and the doctors and the politicians and, you know, the computer programmers and the computer developers and program. I mean, it's gonna take huge coalitions of people saying we're not gonna fucking do this anymore. And this doesn't stop until we say that it stops. I mean, that's what people don't understand, you know, and I think you're right. I think they're using this to condition people to never say stop, to never say no, to just keep, and to shame their neighbors. I mean, that's probably been the most disgusting part about this. And that was something that Hitler was really good at, you know, they you know, so I don't know. What do you think? You think that this mentality that's been bred into people will ever go away?
Man, I could get in trouble for saying what I want to say because I don't, you know, I've had people disagree with me on this. I've had other people agree with me on this. You know, I don't know which direction this can go. I've thought about this for nights. I'm talking sleepless nights. I've thought about this. You know, you brought up Hitler, and I'm kind of glad you did, as evil as he is, you know, fuck Hitler. But a lot of people don't understand the Nazis. You know, when they read about the Nazis, they jump right to World War II. They don't really look into, you know, the Weimar Republic and all the things that happened before the Nazis.
No.
Hold on, my mom's asking for help. Hold
on. He's having some familiar issues right now. That's okay. We'll get there. We'll get there.
All right, hold on, Ma. Hold on. I'll be done in 10 minutes, Ma.
No, you won't.
All right. Hold on, give me 1 minute.
You're gonna see him get.
This might be my favorite part of any episode I've ever had, Josh.
Come on. All right. Hold on. I gotta go help my mom.
Hey, tell her I said hi. Tell her I said hi.
Hey, said hi.
We'll keep talking. How's it going?
All right. I'm going. Give me 2 seconds, brother. I gotta just put this back.
All right. So here we'll make this big on me. This is interesting. This is a lot of fun. So yeah, we're bringing up the topic of the Nazis, and that's something that we've kind of been bashed on several times for bringing up the the kind of the how this coincides with what happened in Nazi Germany before World War II and with that kind of stuff. And this is so funny. I'm dying right now. I'm so happy that we had this guy. She is mad. She's really mad. But that's, you know, there are some things that look a lot like what happened in the lead up to World War II. That's something that we've seen legitimately. And if you bring it up, you're obviously immediately shouted down. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if he's Italian. I don't know. I'm not one of those people that guesses people's race and nationality, because you just never know. But yeah, there are a lot of parallels to what happened then, and to be shouted down and screamed at and called racist or bigot or whatever it is they want to call you for bringing up the similarities that should tell you something. You know what I mean? Because that's the same things that probably happened to some of my ancestors and some ancestors of other people who have compared these things to what's going on now. But anyways, yeah, I don't know. How are you guys doing? How y'all doing? Let's talk about the chat. Let's talk in the chat. The people who listen to this episode are going to be like, what the fuck just happened? That's what they're going to say. You know that, right? That's what they're going to say. All the people that are listening, they're going to be like, he messed up the audio again. And then we got like 30 minutes into the interview and they're like, wait a minute, what happened to the guest? What happened to the guest? But whatever. Why don't we take this time to do some Ask Me Anythings real quick until our friend the Hard Hat Intellectual can come back. You guys can drop some questions in the chat. I have no problem answering some stuff. I've had a couple of shots of Fireball tonight. So I'm lit up and ready to talk. You guys got any questions for me? Julia's next video will drop a Monday morning. I'm gonna try to get Julia's videos out every Monday at noon Central Time. So 10 o'clock Pacific and 1 o'clock PM Eastern. So yeah, his mom probably does wear pit vipers for sure. I think they both do. They have matching pit vipers for sure. But yeah, if you guys haven't followed my fiance's channel, please go check out Julia, Julya, Annalise, Annalise on YouTube. That's her new channel. She dropped her first video yesterday morning, and it's pretty good. What's my EDC, Dickie? I don't know what you're talking about. Hey, also, Dickie, thank you so much for becoming the newest channel member on YouTube, bro. I appreciate you. But what do you mean EDC? What does that mean? I don't know. I don't get it. You guys can talk. It's okay. You can ask me questions if you want. We got some time now. The lights are bothering my eyes, so. I don't know. Did we lose him for good? I don't know. Maybe we did. Maybe he'll come back. I think he went to help Mama. No, Dickie, I usually drink this. This is what I typically drink, if you guys want to know. That is Nefarious bourbon it's from Clive, Iowa. It's good stuff. But my fiance really likes Fireball, so I got that and some apple cider tonight since it's the beginning of fall here in Iowa. The rest of you guys aren't used to fall starting this early, but let's see. What's up, man? You back yet? You're muted, dude.
Yeah, I had to help my mom jump the car, dude. She's about to beat my ass.
That's awesome.
Well,
if the car's dead, you got to help mama. I get it, man. You know,
oh
life,
yes,
life happens.
you seen her pounding on me, dude.
Yeah, she was gonna beat you,
Playing
bro.
those games. She did.
Oh, someone's asking what gun I carry every day. So for a long time I actually carried a Gen 4 Glock 21. That was my everyday carry, if you can believe that. I'm a big guy and I can conceal a Glock 21. And prior to that I actually was a total FUD and carried a Kimber Pro Carry 2. So that was pretty wild. Let's see. Let me address some of these super chats real quick. We got some super chats, buddy. I want to address. Dickie Walnuts sent a $5 super chat. He said nobody's more out of touch with poor minorities than the liberal white people who claim to be their advocate. Yeah, I think so, man.
Facts.
Yeah, it's that hero complex, right?
You know what I mean? Yeah. The white savior complex.
Yeah. Let's see. Magoo, $5 super chat. Thanks. Mass noncompliance sounds like the party for me. Is there actually a party of mass noncompliance?
Not yet, but it could become a possibility for sure. 100%.
Let's see. Top Lobster, $2 super chat. That's my man. Everybody go follow Top Lobster. He rules. He said, "Eat the rich." $30,000 Met tickets. I was doing some ask me anythings while you were gone, buddy. Let me see what they say. When you start slumming it, Josh, you can always interview me. Oh, dude, I'll interview. I like the Outlaw Barber. Maybe we'll set something up. Let's see. No, my fiance's 29. Josh isn't a real libertarian because he doesn't know what EDC is, but he's a real libertarian because his lady drinks Fireball, making her definitely a minor. No, she's 29. She's almost 30. Anyways, we're gonna get back to this interview, man. Okay, all right, guys. We had a nice little. The people that listen to this. Not the ones that don't watch the video are gonna be like, "What the fuck just happened, dude?" Are you a Dolphins fan?
Yes.
And you live in that place, and you're a Dolphins fan?
Oh, I know it.
God,
I know it.
That's got to be rough, dude.
I love it. I love the reactions I get, especially after this last game.
I don't think anybody. I thought I had like the most savage. I grew up in Oakland, and I'm a Cowboys fan. So
that's pretty rough too. That's up there.
That's pretty rough. But you grew up in Tom Brady territory, man, or at least you live there. Now, I imagine with the accent, you grew up there too.
Yeah, I've been here for a while, ever since I was. Yeah.
And you're a Dolphins fan. Wild, dude. Wild. So okay, let's get back to the serious stuff. Okay. What was your mom yelling at you? No, I'm just kidding. What do you think is going to come from this, man? I mean, we were talking before we got broke up there. We were talking about the mentality and how long you think this is going to last, man. I mean, where do you think we're headed from here, dude?
Yeah, so before I was attacked by my mother, jumped in the car and everything. She came over to visit my daughter, and her car died outside. But I don't think, I've thought about this many nights, and I've come to the conclusion this can go many ways. You had brought up Hitler, and I've come to the conclusion a lot of people don't really know too much about the Nazis. They only know, bits and pieces. They never really dived into it deep. They never dived into what happened before the Nazis came. Now, a lot of these tactics are similar to Nazi tactics, the indoctrination, the heavy propaganda. Absolutely. The left is definitely having some very strong fascist tendencies. Absolutely. But a lot of people don't understand that is in the Weimar Republic before Germany, it was the same thing. After World War I, Germany was blamed for basically the whole catastrophe of World War I. They were told that they had to pay reparations. They were told that they had to take in all of the misplaced citizens of Europe, give them the same rights as the German people. A lot of very similar things that are happening now. And what people don't understand is that left was the same left that is now, 100%. No debating that.
The brown shirts.
Yeah. What people don't get, though, is that a lot of that stuff was welcomed, too, because, when they came to power, when they really started coming to power, they just wanted some law and order back. They wanted some normalcy back. And they basically were like, basically what he did was, he was like, you want some law and order back. You want some normalcy back. Let us do what needs to be done and we'll give it to you.
Right.
People said, go for it. And that can happen on both ways. That's why I said when I see that language shifting with the guys at work, that's real. that's something you feel. It's not the same as something that you just go along with because you want to be part of the herd. It's not the same. That's a deep preservation feeling. That's everything I've worked for being threatened right now by some nonsense. All the blood, sweat, and tears I put in to get this house, to build this family. They're telling me I shouldn't have it. That can organically form into something that people will extremely regret. It's not a joke. People think that shit's sweet. It's not. A lot of people are really on edge. They're uneasy. And a lot of people aren't aware of a lot of the things that are going on. So I am not hopeful. I have not seen, too much of people questioning things. I mean, I see it a little bit more, but nothing to really make me go, finally. I'm not seeing that. I don't see enough people from the left doing it. I don't see enough people from the right. I don't see enough people communicating over those lines to give me that hope. But as far as, which way it can go, I think it can go either way. I don't see that it's going to be a definite left wing takeover. I mean, right now it looks that way, but I don't think it could stay that way. I think things could backfire on them in a very bad way, but I think things could go a little too far in a very bad way as well. So I try to pay attention to both, to be honest.
Sure, yeah, and during that part of history, the Nazis coming to power and Hitler, the country was looking for a strongman. That's what they were looking for, and they used that comparison with Trump so many times. Now, I wasn't a Trump supporter. I didn't vote for Trump. I disagreed with Trump very heavily on all kinds of things. Specifically, not ending the wars was a big issue for me. Continuing the drug war, not pardoning political prisoners, stuff like that. But some of the attacks on the 2A, that one kind of got me a little fuzzy. But a lot of people make that comparison, right? Like, oh, Trump was Hitler and he was playing the strongman thing and he was being a populist and playing up on people's fears and stuff like that. But really, at the end of the day, that's what Joe Biden and his administration are doing too. I mean, 100%. Everybody was terrified of this virus and the implications of this virus, and they have taken it full scale to the point of where it's like, I talk to people online who are like, if you get COVID, you're going to die. And I'm like, first of all, I've already had it. Second of all, I know lots of people who've had it who are just fine. In fact, almost everybody I know that has had it is just fine. And I know a lot of fucking people. So they've literally got people believing that it's a death sentence, even though it's, less than 1% of the people that get it are going to die. So, would you say that those comparisons are more akin to the administration we have now than the last administration? And where did you stand on Trump, man?
You know, to be honest, at first with Trump, when he first started running, I wasn't really against him or for him. I really wasn't involved in it like that. But as time progressed, I didn't have a problem with him. I thought sometimes he might have said some things. I was like, why is he saying that? But other than that, I thought he did a really good job. I'm gonna be honest, I did. I think he did a really, really good job. Um, as far as this administration using those tactics, I don't think they're using those tactics in that same way in which I was trying to explain. I think this administration just, had a very, very good opening to exploit to get into this position of power. But I don't think they have that populist, momentum behind them. I don't. I think a lot of people feel a very strong resentment to this administration. I think a lot of people feel a very strong resentment to the people who, advocate for this administration. I think people view it as willful ignorance. I think people view it as blindfold ignorance. People view it as you're part of the problem. People are viewing it as you're advocating for the things that are tearing this country apart, and people are very aware of that. Like I said, a lot of blue collar men are very aware of that. Everyone who I have spoken to on every single job site I have been to, from guys laying down asphalt, truckers, you name it, I have not met one person that spoke anything or highly of this administration. And I've actually heard language that was, spoken in the way of, resentment building within these people. And that is something that is extremely dangerous. And I think people, they overlook this because of, as you said, a lot of people used to say that Trump had the Hitler comparisons, and that's completely bogus. Completely bogus. People don't know what strongman really is. They have no clue. They don't know. Strongman is something that When it happens, you will know it. There will be no tolerance for any of this baloney. There will be no tolerance for people in the streets acting a donkey. There'll be no tolerance for nothing. It'll be our way or no way. It'll be either you want things to go back to the right way, you do what we were doing before, you work, you take care of your family, you mind your business, you obey the law, you have nothing to worry about. If you start to make any kind of noise, we will put that noise out immediately. That is strong, man. And that is something that can form very rapidly, very rapidly. So, I mean, I see what you're saying with this administration. You could view it as they did use like a little populist type of swindle to get into power, but I think this kind of just fell on their lap, or it was pre-planned. But I don't think they have that populist momentum, and I don't think a lot of people realize what a strongman government really is. Because when it does happen, then they will really know. They will absolutely know.
Sure. Yeah. No, I don't disagree with you, man. I think that what we're experiencing today is medical fascism. And I think a lot of people use all kinds of different words, and some people have gotten upset with me for calling it fascism. But I mean, that's literally what Mussolini, who was one of the first real fascists, coined. Said, fascism is the merger of state and corporate power. That's what it is. And we're seeing the state use corporate power to push their agenda. I mean, that's what they're doing. And they're gonna get their way, because unless enough people don't comply, they're gonna get their way. That's how it's gonna be. And you're not gonna be able to go to the. I got kids. I got 7 kids. 7. They all live here. I gotta feed them, dude. You know what I mean? It's a lot of fucking groceries, dude. That's big Costco runs. You know what I mean? You guys have no idea. Like my food bill is as much as some people's rent. They're threatening to not let me go to the store and feed my children unless I take their approved jabs. That's medical fascism. That's what that is. That 100%. And they're pushing the businesses to do it so people can't say, well, my freedom. You know what I mean? That's what they're doing.
Yeah, it's coercion. It's coercion, and I 100% blame the conservatives for that, because a lot of conservatives, they have like this ignorant viewpoint of anything that criticizes any type of corporation or calls out any type of business that it's communism or it's Marxism. It's like, well, we're against big government, but we'll allow corporations to become government. That's no problem. It's like, that makes no sense. Like, these corporations are acting like government entities. They're literally pushing these things called modules that they present to people that pass legislation that is basically in itself legislation and actually becomes real law. What do you mean? Of course you should be calling that out, and they don't. And it's a huge problem, and that is absolutely fascism. 100% fascism.
What I think the biggest problem in the libertarian circles, from my opinion, is that so many people are like, "Oh, it's a private business, bro. It's a private business. We have to support all private businesses." I'm like, "What's a private business anymore? The government's in cahoots with all." I mean, they just spent the last 18 months nationalizing business. Legitimately nationalizing business. They have literally went out of their way to tell you can't work unless we tell you can work. Hello? What the fuck do you think they're doing?
Yeah. It's exactly what they did, man.
It's insane to me, dude. Insane. And then they're giving these little personal loans, right, through tax money for the businesses that close down so they can stay afloat. Like, that's our fucking money, dude, right?
Yeah.
That's our money, and you're telling me now that I'm not allowed to go to this store that my tax money kept afloat while we were all struggling for the last 18 months. Unless I go and do something that you tell me I have to do. Like, this is no longer a private entity. This is not these aren't private businesses anymore.
It's not. And the thing that I pointed out in one of the videos I made actually was, the whole essential and non-essential. Why? I don't know if it ever occurred to people, but why did you think that all of these big corporations, these multi-billion-dollar corporations, were allowed to stay open, and they called them essential? But yet there was other businesses that weren't a part of these big corporate entities that had the same goods that literally function the exact same way, but they were deemed not essential. Why? Well, it's simple. You kill off all the small businesses this way. You kill off any competition that could open up to people when they do put in place these mandates, and then they say that you will lose your job or not be able to go to these remaining corporate entities where you have to get some of your goods, and you have no choice now because they eliminated all the competition. That was the whole purpose of that.
Well, I think it was that. I think it was that, and the fact that they knew. So here's the thing: they're already in cahoots with the corporations, right? They're already like a back and forth, like a alternating current of policy, right? They know they can help set rules for Walmart and Amazon and all these companies because they already work with the government. But all the small businesses never were in a position where they had to comply with all these sweeping mandates that the government put out. So you shut down all the businesses that don't have to comply with what you're saying. You only leave essential businesses that will comply with what you're saying, and then you give them the ultimatum: you comply with what we're saying or you'll never open back up. And in fact, 40% of the businesses that shut down will never open up again. That's, what was it? No, it was like 32%, 38% or something like that. That's a lot of fucking businesses. A lot. Like a ton of businesses that will never see the light of day again because of this shit. And they knew what they were doing. And somehow, right? This is still to me the craziest shit. Like I call it the floppening. I don't know if anybody has heard me say that on the show. I may not have. I call it the floppening, right? We have the right out here calling for holistic, crunchy, organic healthcare. Okay. Or the right for the first time ever. It's calling for holistic, crunchy, organic healthcare, right? Use vitamins, get more sun, exercise. We have the left simping. I mean, legitimately simping for big pharma, for big corporations. They're applauding the death of small businesses and bodily autonomy and individual rights. It's flopped. It's completely fucking flopped over the last 18 months. And no one's talking about it. Nobody's talking about the fact that the left used to be the party of anti-war, organic, crunchy healthcare, not supporting these big multinational corporations and billion-dollar corporations. We have flopped. We have completely flopped. The right is now the party of that shit, and the left is now calling for essentially an increased police state. After spending 4 years talking about defunding the police, they're calling for an increased police state for crying out loud. It's insane to me. I don't understand it. I don't get it at all. I don't understand. Are people that flexible on their principles?
It's nuts, man. I mean, it's happened before, though. I mean, if you look at American history, I mean, they like to throw out that big lie of the party switch. That the Democrats always been the party for the minority, and they've always been the party that was against oppression, but that's completely false. There was never no party switch, but they did that already too. They kept repeating that lie, the party switch. There was never no party switch. Republicans never switched to become the party of the racist South. That's complete nonsense.
I posted this on Facebook today, or on Twitter today, by the way. I said, what's it going to take for you to realize that the Democrats never stopped being the party of the KKK and Jim Crow? They just stopped saying the quiet part out loud.
Yeah. That's 100% true, man. It really is.
I mean, between criminal justice, I mean, the drug war, the continued wars overseas, the gun laws. I mean, what is it? What do you need to see to understand that they are still the party of Dixiecrats, man? They are no different than they were then.
And then you could just ask yourself this very basic question. If they didn't talk about racism, if they didn't talk about oppression, if they didn't talk about any of these things that they say they're trying to fix, that have been problems for all these years, shouldn't that tell you that's the reason why they never fixed them? If they fix them, they have no platform to run on. They want that to continue. They don't want to fix these problems. They have no platform if they fix the problems. Imagine what they would talk about if there was no racism. Even though we don't agree that there's the amount of racism in which they speak, we know it's all bullshit. But imagine, what are they going to talk about? There's no poverty. Everybody had houses. What would they talk about? Would have nothing to talk about.
Yep.
And that's why they don't fix the problems. It's just common sense, man. People just don't have it.
It's the same reason why we used to not trust Big Pharma. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
We understood that if they cured all the diseases, Big Pharma would be right the fuck out of business.
Yeah. Yes.
It's always about following the money, man. It's always about following the money. Where's the money go? Where's it come from? Why is it going there? Why don't you ask yourself these questions? Why don't you sit down and critically think about asking yourself these questions? Why Why is Big Pharma paying billions of dollars to the mainstream media? What possible reason could they have for doing that other than to run advertising campaigns? I don't know. I don't know, man.
Exactly.
But you know what, brother? We're getting to the end of the public stream here. I really appreciate you coming on. Can you, before we go, man, let everybody know how they can follow you, support you, check you out, all that great stuff, man? I'm a big fan, and I think my people would love to follow you too.
Yeah, man. Hey, sorry about my mom coming in there with the guns blazing, but
it happens. It happens.
Yeah, you could just follow me right on Twitter, man. It's at the Hard Hat Intellect. It used to be Melanie Musey. Don't ask me how I got that, but I ended up actually switching that. Thank God. But it's at Hard Hat Intellect. It's INTELLEC. You can just follow me there, man. Just retweet my stuff, you know. I just like to get the message out, man. I just like to get people to think. That's all it is. I like to engage in good dialogue. I just want people to use their brains, man. It's a God's given gift, you know. Don't let it go to waste. Use that thing. That's what it's there for.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I appreciate the knowledge that you're spitting for people, brother. I'm a big fan of yours. I'll continue to follow you forevermore and share your stuff, brother. But I'm gonna get this stream closed out, and I'll get with you in just 1 minute, brother.
Yeah. All right, brother. Take it easy.
All right, man. All right, guys, man. Please go follow him. Despite the quick break where he had a little argument with his mother, the guy's dead on, very, very smart, awesome, and he relates to people, which is something we need more of in this fucking movement, man. We need people that can actually relate to people. I'm so tired of my people not being able to relate. You know, that's why I like people like Mosh Teray, who can go into communities we've never touched. It's why I like people like Dave Smith, who can, through humor, relate to people. You know, it's these losers in the movement, man, who don't relate to anybody, are the ones that are trying to get the people that do relate to other people to leave. So just keep that in mind as we go forward. I appreciate you guys checking us out, man. Tomorrow's show is going to be pretty base, man. I'm excited. Mr. Grumpaw, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Grumpaw, is going to be coming on the show tomorrow. By the way, everybody go tell Top Lobster how absolutely dope that background is. He made a BTC camo background, and he's thinking about making a shirt out of it. So go tell him that he should definitely make a shirt out of that. That is so cool, man. But Grandpa will be on the show tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. Central Time to talk about Afghanistan, of course, his beef with Shane Hazel. That should be an interesting show. Thursday, Ashton Birdie's going to be on the show. She's a great YouTuber. Used to have a much bigger platform. I think she got some stuff taken away from her, and she's back doing some really funny videos. If you guys haven't checked out Ashton Birdie on YouTube, definitely check her out. That's going to be fun. And, of course, my good friend on Friday, Fritz, will be here. Wow, did I just say that? My good friend on Friday, Fritz. I said that without stuttering. I'm very proud of myself. He will be here. Very excited to see Fritz on Friday. We're going to have a good conversation. I was on his show a couple months ago, and it was a really, really good time. Check out our sponsors, of course, toplobster.com, the man, the myth, the legend, my good friend and partner on Break the Cycle, where you can get this great Disobey Your Local Tyrant shirt that I'm wearing tonight by using BTC at checkout for a 10% discount. Or please, for the love of God, guys, join the Patreon or the Subscribe Star, or become a channel member on the YouTube here to get into all the cool after-hours stuff that we do after the show, and get into a private Discord server where you can get all the new Top Lobster gear up to 2 weeks early at a 30% discount. Plus, there's a really cool community in the Discord, man. And it's like, you know, you get in the Discord for $5 a month or $6 a month here on YouTube. If you do some stuff on Patreon, you'll get like a free Break the Cycle shirt. You can become a member of the Mug Club and get a free Break the Cycle mug that I did not steal from Steven Crowder, or maybe I did. I don't know. But definitely check it out, man. See if you can support the show financially. We would very, very much appreciate it. And, of course, executive producer of the show, anthemplanning.com, for all your emergency and crisis planning needs. Check them out today. See what they can do for your business, home, or personal life. They're doing a wonderful job that the government has historically been terrible at, much cheaper and much more efficiently. Seriously, if you own a business, go check them out, man. They're awesome. I promise you will not be disappointed. I will see you guys. Oh, first of all, Lucky Charms, thanks for the $50 super chat. You absolute rule. I really appreciate you. And Marshall Ford, thanks for the $10 super chat. You guys are awesome. I can't tell you how much it means to us. I'll see you tomorrow for the show with the great Grumpaw. But until then, don't forget to break the cycle.
Due to legal explain. The lyrics of my last song may seem to contain a violent call to action in the verse and refrain, but I just meant it in Minecraft. The helicopter part was in reference to GTA 5 and the things you do. So any violence you commit, I am not an excuse, because I just meant it in Minecraft. But Chipper is my friend and he's constantly cold. Accusations of incitement getting totally old. Make your own choices, yeah, you have control, because I just meant it in Minecraft. Obviously I would never advocate force, unless there's due process and a trial, of course. And if you're convicted, we will make you a corpse in Minecraft, just in Minecraft. You're nothing I mean, you know it. No product theaters cause it closed from COVID. Holy shit, I think I'm